Hey guys, it's Kyle Langan, and if you know me, you probably know that I wrote a novel called Confessions of a Callboy that came out in 2022. It's about sex work and how the protagonist finds himself working in that industry. I was fascinated by the sex working industry because it's the oldest job known to mankind, and it's only started to become more normalized and mainstream since the creation of OnlyFans. I sat down with two friends of mine who are also OnlyFans creators, adult film actors, and husbands to talk all about this crazy industry. This is a conversation I have been wanting to have for years. So let's get into it. I'm so
Love
excited.
that.
I really am so excited to see you guys because I have been wanting to talk about this for a long time because I became very fascinated, like I said, with the industry just because of the reasons I mentioned. Like, it's only started to become more kind of mainstream and like quote unquote like acceptable or whatever. Just people are getting more used to it in the past like 6 years.
Yeah.
And so I just am so excited to talk. I feel like I'm going to learn so much today. I'm very excited.
And we've gone through the whole process because we started it about 7 years ago. So I feel like we started it when it was more taboo.
Right.
And then now it's become way less taboo. So we've seen like both ends of it.
Yeah, I
you
feel like
know?
we started it
Before it was cool.
when people would roll their eyes,
Right.
at it, and we kind of worked through to the point where it was like people were like, "Oh wow, you do OnlyFans?"
Now it's cool.
Yeah.
So let's just like before we even get into like career stuff, like how did you guys meet? Tell me this. Tell me the meet cute.
Yeah. Do you want to start that off?
So we actually met through a mutual friend from LA, but I was living in Philadelphia at the time. It was New York World Pride 2019, and I mean, the dumbed down version is I was a third for him and his boyfriend for the weekend, and
What?
just
We won't name names, but I know you know him. Yes, it was it started off as just a one night fling,
Right.
I had been with that partner for about a year and a few months, and that was kind of fizzling out. It had kind of run its course, and it was what was originally meant to be maybe just a one night fling,
Right.
it
Yeah.
turned into a
Well,
lot
it's
more.
funny because I met him at a pregame at an Airbnb Thursday, like before the weekend, and was like, "Oh wow, that guy's really hot." And my friend was like, "Oh, he has a boyfriend," and he literally, I don't even think he remembers meeting me that
don't.
night. And then it was Sunday that I like hung out with him and his boyfriend like in a larger group,
Oh,
and
wow.
that's kind of
When things happen.
when it sparked for sure.
Yeah, and then that relationship that I was in ended about like 3 or 4 weeks later, and we just kind of continued talking right when that relationship ended, and
Yeah, we
our
hung out like market days.
our
and then-
first like official weekend together, both being single, was we met up at Market Days in Chicago, which was like beginning of August, and we were just like inseparable the whole weekend. We
Wow.
just could, we just could, we were just all over each other, and
I moved here by Halloween.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
So aside from like the physical, like what were and as you guys got to know each other, what attracted you? Like Koaty, start. Like what attracted you most about Sumner?
I just noticed, I don't know, I think mostly it was how he was just like listening to me. I mean, you've been in the gay scene in New York and here, and yeah, it's sometimes really hard, especially in party environments and group environments, to like feel like somebody's actually engaging with you conversation wise. And it was just really nice to meet someone who was like actually interested in what I was saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sumner.
I remember the first thing that we really, really were bonding over actually was like, it might sound small, but like our taste in music.
Yeah.
Like we like we're both so into so many, like we both are a sucker for ballads.
Pop
and our
divas.
pop divas.
Yeah.
And it might sound small, like in comparison to like the bigger connection, but like I do remember that was one of the, just in my memory of things, that was one of the first things that we just like really were connecting over. Like being long distance, we like made a Spotify playlist for each other, and like we were like adding songs, and it was like I just, it's very specific to me. Like some of these ballads that I would listen to that would give me all the feels that I thought like no one ever like knew about or like would listen to. And I'd be like, oh, like, have you heard this song? And be like, oh my God, that's one of my favorite ballads.
Yeah.
I love that girl. I love that song that she did. Like that was just something that we connected on.
Just like minor artists that, you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Among just like, he just made me feel important. Like, and that's why I always tell people when, gay friends of ours, they, you know, they'll talk to us about this guy. They're like, I can't tell if he's into me, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, when it's the right person, it will not feel like a game. You won't have to second guess any of that. And with him, that's how it felt.
Yeah.
I felt like I never had to question, should I text him right now? Should I respond to this? Should I play hard to get? Should I be more needy?
The
Like, it was
game,
just like,
yeah.
I just got to be myself. And I will say now, he loved me for that. I never had to second guess any of that.
I
And
was
so
forward.
that was what drew me to him, is that it never felt like a game. Like I knew he liked me, loved
That's so
me,
nice.
and I felt the same way.
Yeah, and it's reciprocated. Like,
Yeah, it
that's
was
like,
reciprocated.
that's the best thing.
It never felt like either of us thought more than each other. Like,
Yeah.
like I thought I didn't deserve him, and he thought he didn't deserve me, and it kind of just like became magical because of that.
I love that. So, Sumner, when I met you, because I don't even remember how we first met. Do you?
I think I know just out and about through like similar gay circles. I think we met, and then I realized you were at the time friends with my ex, and then but we had a friendship outside of that.
We did. I think it was
Yeah.
even before you guys started dating.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a few months. And then, you know, that person and I started dating, and then you and I just kind of saw each other in the same circles,
Yeah,
same
yeah,
parties, you know, like, yeah.
Yeah. So, when I did meet you, you were working, I think, in insurance sales.
I was doing life insurance.
And then
yeah.
you were about to start, or you just had started a business with your sister, a med spa?
I did, yes. Yeah, in 2017, so I was selling life insurance, and then my older sister and I, we took some of our investment money, and we opened up a little med spa together, in 2017, yeah.
And then you kind of eventually made the shift into creating on OnlyFans.
Yeah, so the med spa, you know, that was a great business venture that my sister and I did. She was like the visionary. I was more the systems guy. You know, she was like front facing. I was like, I set up everything on the back end. You know, I was like the scheduling, how the operations worked. I was like the operations person, which we both thrived in the roles that we had. And, you know, she was the one that was like, I want to open this location, and all this. And I was like, okay, well, like, let's set this up so it's like seamless across each location. And, you know, by the time we were done, we started in 2017. And by, you know, 2019, we had opened up 4 locations.
Wow.
And, you know, while it was a great adventure and I learned so much, by the time 2020 rolled around and I kind of started making content and gone down that road, I just realized that it wasn't something that my sister and I should continue together. We had gotten as far as we could together, and for the benefit of just like being siblings, I was like, I want you to have this and you to run with it, and I need to go down a different path.
Right.
And it was completely like not a bad,
Right.
I don't know if you want to call
Breakup.
it breaking up of that, dissolving of that business relationship. You know, it was just, we dissolved it, and I stepped away and I let her run with it. And then, yeah, everything else kind of ran from there. That was right around the time that I met him that I kind of dissolved it, and we started doing the
Honestly, when I
content
met
version.
you and you were like, "Oh, I want to get a chain of med spas," I was like, "Oh, this guy's like, got his shit
Jackpot!
together."
So
Yeah.
wait, and then are you still a structural engineer?
I am still a structural engineer.
Okay, this is cool. What is a structural engineer?
So I went to Penn State. My major was architectural engineering.
Okay.
So my focus is in structure, so building design mostly. So like an architect will design a building and then send it to the engineer, and I kind of bring it to fruition.
Got
you
it.
know, create the bones, the skeleton of the building. Kind of, they have a dream, and I have to make it real, make it stand.
The operations
Yeah.
of the med spa.
But
It's like,
so I did that for like 3 years out of college. I worked for a tiny firm in Philly doing like wood residential design in like high seismic areas, which was like beach houses and places where there's earthquakes. And but then eventually just wanted a job with travel, and found a engineering job for the government where I do like ship design, ship
wow.
inspections, but the structure of the ship, not like actual systems.
Yeah.
For it. Yeah.
wow. That's, are you from Philly?
I am from Pennsylvania, like more central PA, like
Okay.
near Penn State, which is like right in the center of the state. But then
Yeah,
I lived
yeah.
in Philly for like 10 years.
I went to DeSales University.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so along the way, so then you guys kind of started to, were you creating Sumner before you guys met? Or did it kind of like, did the meeting of you guys and your relationship also like, what's the timeline of creating, getting together?
Okay, so what had happened? So while I was with my ex, we had run into just some mutual couple friends, and I remember them. I can't remember. They were visiting LA, and they had showed like OnlyFans was kind of new and up and coming. You were starting to hear about like OnlyFans and what it was at the time. This
Yeah.
was 2018, right? And I remember they were very transparent about what they were making on OnlyFans. And I was like, that's so cool. Like, I'm not saying I want to do this full time, but like that sounds like a great little like side hustle. And so I knew like with the relationship I was in, I was like, it's not something I should do right now. But I told myself in the back of my mind, I was like, if I'm ever single again, I'm going to give it a try just as a side hustle. Like I was, at the time I was still selling life insurance, which I'd been doing for like 8 years. I was starting the med spa thing with my sister. But I was like, why not? Like in my mind, like I want 5, 6, 7 streams of income anyways.
Right.
So it was one of those, if I'm ever single again, I'm going to try this. So when that relationship ended, him and I started talking so quickly afterwards. So I just wanted to be transparent. I remember just right when we started dating or talking, I was like, I would just want to be honest about this. This is something that I want to try. I was like, I told myself if I was ever single again, I'm just going to give it a try. And when I said that, he was like, oh, like I've also thought that could be something interesting to do. But I was a little concerned that if I do that, the next guy I try to date will not be okay with it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well,
Kind of a perfect.
I was like, well, I'm the next guy you're trying to date and I am okay with it. So if you want to try that, I'm going to try it too.
There was also some security of doing it with somebody than by yourself.
Yeah.
Because, it was a really big deal, especially for the career that I have. I took a big risk
Right.
doing that. So it was, especially somebody I cared so much for, I was like, okay, we'll do this together. And if it fails, we'll fail together.
Yeah. I was like, why not?
But that is secure. So like, you started out. So you never did it like solo. You only did it together to start, like create content
I
together.
think you like started a page and had like 3 videos or something on
Well, we
it.
did start it separately because at that time
Oh, I see.
we were long distance. We didn't live together yet. And we're like, we decided, like I'll start my page, you start your page. And oh my gosh, my original concept was I was going to,
I hated it.
I
You
know.
showed me those first couple of videos. I was like,
I was gonna not be hooking up with people. I was going to cook naked.
Oh,
And
it was
my
like
little-
you didn't have a very nice kitchen.
I didn't have a very nice kitchen.
It was so bad.
I know. So that was my thought at first, and of course everything evolves, of course, but. Yes, it was separate at first, and then, but our relationship moved so fast.
Yeah.
We went to Market Days in August, and at that point, we were making plans to see each other every other weekend, and then by October 3rd, it was a Mean Girls Day, I did ask him to be my boyfriend, which is also National Boyfriend Day, which is why I did it,
perfect.
and then he moved in by November 1st. So our relationship progress fairly quickly. So the idea was like, we'll do it separately for a little bit, and then when you move in, let's launch one together. So we launched our page together as a brand. We decided to launch it January 1st of 2020. We were like, let's just do a hard launch.
Perfect.
Happy New Year's.
Right.
We're combining our pages. Even if you subscribe to us separately, we're going to combine our pages and we're going to be one thing. And then
it was off to the races.
And it was off to the races, not knowing that, of course, the pandemic was going to happen.
Oh, right.
2 months later.
Well,
3 months
you have
later.
a perfect live-in collaborator, so that's great.
Yeah.
So, and B, you don't have to tell me exactly, but like, how much money are you making? Or like, when did it become something that like, you're like, oh, you know, substantial, I guess.
So, I mean, honestly, at first it was like paying rent.
Right.
That's like literally all it was doing, you know, some extra cash flow. And then our friend like was doing really well on TikTok. And back then you could like put your link in the bio. And so he's like, let's try it. He like literally had to coerce me to do it. I was like, I don't want any more social media. We have so much social media. But then we ended up doing it, and it was COVID, and it ended up blowing up overnight. And it literally overnight went from just paying our rent to being like 6 figures a year kind of salary situation. Right. And at that time, you know, things just started rolling after that. And so we decided one of us needed to like quit our job to kind of manage and control
Maintain it. Yeah.
So, you know, he left his, mostly because I was like, I still have school debt. So like, I won't feel right quitting my job with still paying school loans. But yeah, just like kind of spiraled after that.
Yeah, we were fortunate enough over the pandemic. Neither of us lost our jobs. You know, I could sell life insurance remote. Around that, I had already kind of left the med spa thing with my sister. It was interesting, like right before the pandemic, I'd already been like, I'm gonna let you have that. I'm just gonna go back to what I'm doing. I kind of want to do some content creation. So neither of us lost our job. He had security. I could sell life insurance remote. The OnlyFans was just something to do in addition to that, you know? So you
weren't relying on it.
Yeah, we weren't relying on it. But then once we started doing TikTok, out of nowhere, like you said, it just blew up, you know?
So obviously pandemic ends, you guys had seen success with it over that course of that year plus. And then you obviously started to collaborate with other people, right? Yeah. So like just...
Not for actually a few years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, for the first
like 3 years, it was just us.
3 years, it was just us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was the decision about bringing in like other collaborators? And also just kind of like, this kind of feeds into another question or like a more philosophical question about like, did you consider you guys to be like in an open relationship until, or do you now? Like, you know, how does that?
No, I love that question. So just to kind of give you some backstory, we were monogamous for our first year. So going into the pandemic, we were still in our first year. So, because we started dating basically summer of 2019. And so we didn't have, we were monogamous for basically a full year. So when we started the OF and the TikTok journey, it wasn't on our mind of like, we need to collab, we need to do this. It was like, we're just doing this together. Like we were cut off from the world because it was a pandemic. We were in a little studio at the time, and we're like, let's just make stupid little TikToks and let's film our intimate moments, and people can subscribe if they want to subscribe, and they did. So there wasn't a thought of, oh, we need to go network or anything like that for a while.
Yeah, and we just honestly, after that year, we knew eventually we were gonna like open our relationship up, but we just wanted it to happen organically.
Yeah.
And, you know, it just happened organically eventually. But it, you know, basically was just us playing together with people, you know? So, and then over time, as we got comfortable with that in our relationship, then we started being like, okay, maybe we start collabing as well. And also it was to the point where it's like, even in a business, you get to a certain point, you're making a certain amount of money and it plateaus. And you're like, okay, what can we do now to increase kind of revenue? So collabing was kind of the next step for us, I guess. In that way.
No, it's so interesting. I mean, I'm always just fascinated by like monogamy versus non-monogamy in the gay community and how it's so different for everyone, and everyone has a different preference and different levels of comfort. It's always just like I'm just like personally interested in it all, so that's why
Oh, I am
I was
too. That's
asking.
why I'm always like, whatever makes you and your partner happy, whether that's monogamy, whether that's playing together, whether that's playing separately. I mean, we we recently found out like this couple that we know, their husbands, like one has a boyfriend and that boyfriend has a husband and that husband has a boyfriend, and I'm like, you do you know.
Right.
I know what works for us, but it's never like, oh no, I would never do that. Like, why would you? It's just like it just has to work for you and your relationship, and it's no one else's business.
Yeah, we always tell people when they ask us about it, it's like,
As I ask you all.
No. I mean, asking out of curiosity,
No, I know,
yes,
I'm
but
kidding.
like asking out of like just judgment or so,
Right.
sometimes that, or I could never, it's just
yeah. Like we had a couple just stay with us this weekend who kind of are new to it and were asking questions. And I was like, what you understand is you got to constantly reconnect and have conversations again. Like there's sometimes where we are more open. There's sometimes where we are closed. If we're just feeling like there's times where we're like, oh, let's focus on us for a couple months. Or,
Right.
and I think it's important for people to know it's like, just because you say something, you have the right to take that back too.
Right.
So, it's your relationship is more of like a roller coaster and not just a kind of climb.
It's so interesting too because you guys are very like are you the same age?
I'm 38, he's 36.
You're so like on the same page seemingly like about all of these like moments in your life up thus far like
it took 7 years.
I know, but it's
And
like
a lot of therapy.
but good, we love therapy.
Yeah,
but just like
we're open book. We can talk about all of it,
Yeah.
but just like wanting to both start like the interest of starting OnlyFans at the same time, but also wanting to be in a relationship at the same time, and having the curiosities of is someone going to like me if I do this? Like you're very on the same page about all these
That
things.
I think that beginning part was, I guess you could say, more coincidental. That's not like just going to happen to everybody.
I will
Yeah,
say
yeah.
we have a lot in common
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
lot of different ways. And I feel
You
like
can
that was
feel
right.
it.
Even just being open, we 90% of the time are into the same guys. So when we have friends that are like a twink and a hairy bear that are dating and they want to open up, they obviously want opposite types.
right,
so it's
right.
harder for them to play together.
Sure.
So thank God it is easier for us to play together because we are interested in kind of the same people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are some of like the stigmas and stereotypes that you guys have like faced over or trying to like thwart or kind of like opinions from family or friends or like what do people get wrong about it? Like how do you handle all that kind of feedback?
Honestly, I always say that I'm really grateful because I feel like we haven't really had very much negative feedback.
That's good.
I feel like most of it too is because all the people in our lives just trust us in our decisions, and it's not like we're ever in crisis or we have good heads on our shoulders, so people just never really question
Yeah.
our motive or what we were doing. I feel like it's like when you meet strangers and they kind of are like, one thing I don't like is when it's like, oh, do you have a real job though? Which I do, but like honestly, I feel like sometimes the OF part of my life is a little more stressful and harder, especially earlier on,
Yeah.
than my actual career is. I mean, we've been doing it for so long and we have so much content, it's not as stressful as it once was. That's kind of a great thing about it. But I would say overall, with family and stuff, they are more just about like, oh, how you doing your taxes? Like,
Right.
Want to know the business kind
Curious.
of side of things.
And you take a very business approach to it. Like you're right. You're saying like, okay, like we've hit a ceiling. Now we have to kind of do X, Y, Z to continue to grow. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, we have been fortunate in our families are big supporters. His mom is a huge supporter. It's like no matter what we do, she just loves us and supports us, and my family's been the same. They are just, they love to see the life we're building, and like that's it. They're they're not really worried about like where it's coming from. We've been very transparent. Maybe not, of course, like the first year we were figuring it out, but like now, once we were like 3-4 years in, it was like, okay, I want you guys to know what we're doing. Because it got to a point where I remember my grandpa was like, how are they doing all these trips? How are they doing this if they're just like making a TikTok. You know, we
Right.
and of course, like you keep it hidden, but I wanted my siblings to know. I wanted my parents to know. Of course, like I don't need them to know the details of certain things, but like
Yeah.
I wanted to let them
Share
in
your-
on that.
share
I
your
wanted
success.
to share it, and
Yeah.
luckily it was met with open arms, you know, and that's not always the case. But I would say we have been fortunate at meeting that with open arms. But I think our fans, of course, are appreciative of our relationship. They're appreciative when they see us with someone else and they see us enjoying things. But you know, you still get like, online being the judgment, you know, like, oh, I give them another 6 months, they're going to be broken up.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, they
got a
must
lot
not
of
really
that.
love each
A lot of
other.
that.
You know, you still get that,
I think
and
our-
that's okay. That's going to come with it. You know,
I think our approach too was if we are coming off like we're ashamed of it or hiding it, then they have a right to feel negatively towards it.
That's a
and I
great
feel like
point.
we've always just, I mean, I've bragged about it and talked about it from the start. Like, you know, I was always just proud of kind of the accomplishments that we made in it. And it's, you know, not everyone's cup of tea, and that's fine. But I think the way that we do look at like it as a business, you know, it did doing it. I feel like it forced us to have so many hard conversations that some couples probably never have. And it just like, I feel it got us closer quicker too.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what do you think it has afforded you besides like monetarily, like kind of on a deeper like better communication, or like what have you gotten from it kind of like on a soul level? You know what I mean?
I feel like, I mean, just like COVID is a perfect experience. Like when you have a W-2 job or just a job, and just the stress of losing that job and not having a backup plan or a safety net, it was nice once it started earning money. Because I was always scared, like, oh, what if my job doesn't like this and they fire me? And when it got to the point where I was making more money than my engineering career, then I was like, oh, if they would say that, then I would say goodbye. It took
fine.
like that like professional stress away from like all the scared things that you could ever feel in your career. Even if you're an amazing employee, you know, everyone's always afraid of being laid off or being fired, or, you know, something like COVID happening again and losing your job.
Right.
And just having that source of income that you know is always going to be there now was
Right.
just like gave me more of a like confidence, and I don't know, just like easier way to live, like go through life, honestly.
But we also know that it might not always be there. We could wake up tomorrow and it could be OF could be gone, you know, with everything that's going on. But that's the same in any career. When people are like, "Oh, what do you do if OF is gone tomorrow?" I'm like, "What do you do if your job's replaced by AI?"
Right.
Like that is any career job that you choose. That's why we don't put all our eggs in one basket. We are using the funds that we're doing. You know, we're investing in properties. We're investing in ourselves.
Yeah.
We're not just looking at this as this is it, and we're just
Sure.
going to do it for as long as we can. You know, there is still other things in the picture.
Well, that's what kind of meant when I was like there, it's always going to be there, is because we used that opportunity and put it in other areas.
To create other opportunities.
Airbnbs, and,
Right,
you know, we got on a reality show, and it opened opportunities up for us. So it was,
Oh, I know. I'm going to ask you all about that later. Okay, right. So you did talk about this term on your YouTube. I was researching, you guys, as you can imagine. And I was you taught me something new. I didn't know what
I think I know what you're going to say. too.
compersion meant.
Yes, I knew
Oh,
it.
conversion, yes.
And so for our listeners and viewers, tell everyone what compersion is.
Well, compersion, so we actually learned that term a few years ago, right before we did the YouTube on it. I was on set for a studio scene, and the guy I was working with was talking to me about it. I was like, that is exactly where we're at now. He's like, oh, you guys have compersion. And so compersion, we define it as the opposite of jealousy. So we're jealousy where you are upset by seeing your partner with someone else and you want that attention on you or whatnot. Compersion is being able to enjoy seeing your partner get excitement or get enjoyed or get pleasured from an experience that maybe doesn't involve you. And of course we use it in like the intimacy part, but it could be anything.
It could be with
right.
friends.
It's like the opposite of envy.
Oh, right.
Opposite of, I would say it's the opposite more of envy than jealousy.
This is so interesting because it's like on one hand, right, and like what am I trying to say? I just feel like on one hand, like being in I've never been in an open relationship. So on one hand I think like being in an open relationship is the most evolved thing that you can do as a couple because if you're deriving pleasure from you know from seeing your partner with somebody else, it's like wow, like you're just observing it because they're enjoying it and you don't feel that like white hot like angst or like wrath of jealousy. But on the other hand, it's like the other side of like the ping pong table is like, well, you know, is are open, you know, these are questions I ask myself. I was like, are open relationships, the people in them, like, are they trying, is there some kind of like deep wound that's like trying to be healed because it's like a fear of intimacy because because you're not putting all your eggs in one basket, right? It's kind of like, so it's, and nothing's right or wrong. It's just like something I'm just so fascinated by. So I'd love to hear like your.
I feel like some couples, that's totally what that is what is happening. Is there's something missing in their relationship and they need it in other avenues, and
Right.
you know that's something that we always make sure we, even at first when we would hook up with other people, we'd always have a conversation afterwards about how we felt, how it made us feel. Because
So healthy.
even now, it's years later, and sometimes you do get a little jealous. It's always going to be there, but as long as you talk about it afterwards, it's all about how you react, and so that's like really an important thing, I guess,
Yeah.
for us.
Well,
in that
just
scenario.
in general, because I feel like that's not done. You guys are very evolved. Because I feel like that's not done. Even in monogamous relationships, people aren't having those types of conversations. And like you're saying, it's forced you to be more communicative.
Yeah. We always explain to people, it's like when we got to the point, I like every relationship I was in before him, I never thought I would be in an open relationship. Like someone would ask me, like, no way, that's never gonna happen. But it's when I met him, and it's just the amount of that I was so secure and solid in like how much love I had for him.
Yeah.
Like none of that ever mattered. I never questioned it. It just added more joy to our lives. We kind of consider it as like if you use a sex toy with your partner, it's like bringing a third in is like a sex toy almost, you know.
Not to objectify the person. You know, but I do think there's a difference. Like there's also, and maybe I need to say this or not, but like there's a difference between being a cuck. Like a cuck is someone like the kink of like, oh, I just want to sit off to the side and I want to watch my partner with someone, and I'm the kink is that you're not involved.
Right.
It's not. Yeah, you're an observer. It's not that on my end I'm like, oh, I just want to sit there and watch him with someone and I'm getting compersion because I'm just there. It's not that. It's just that we can be in an experience or a shared experience where we're with someone and I can enjoy the experience together, but I can also take a step back and just have a second to be like, wow, that is really hot. Like I love that my partner is enjoying himself. It's also hot to see someone enjoy my partner. But for us, it is about being a shared experience. So that's why when people are like, open relationships are this and that, for us, it's about being a shared experience. So it's not like, oh, a random Tuesday, he wants to go meet up with someone and I'm not involved. We don't do that. You know,
we'll be
like,
open if we're in like different cities, and like we allow each other to play when we're apart. But there's in our heads, there's no need for us to go hook up with people when we're both here together,
Right.
unless we want to do it together.
And it's like it's kind of like being at a bar. Like I just thought of like being at a bar with your boyfriend and seeing like someone hit on them, and you're like, that's my boyfriend that they're flirting with.
Yeah.
Like
I think you could
feel
compare
a
it to
bit
that.
of
Yeah, it's not like,
pride.
oh,
It is very much
I'm not
that.
going to get mad at you because someone talked to you and wanted to buy you a drink. I'm like, get him to buy you a drink.
Yeah,
get him to buy you
get a
5
drink.
drinks.
Yeah.
Let him
One
get you
for
drunk.
me.
Well,
Yeah,
also to
I
us,
don't have to buy him then.
Also to us, because it's like we know if we're out together and we're picking someone up, we're bringing that person back for the both of us,
Right.
Too.
You know, we were at Pride, for example. We were at Pride, West Hollywood Pride last weekend, beginning of June, and we were on the dance floor. And this guy comes up to him. I'm standing right next to him, and this guy comes up to him. He's like, "Oh my God, you have a great butt." And he introduced me right away. This is my husband. And I'm like, yeah, he does have a great butt. And he's like, oh my God, like he has a great butt. Can I touch it? Like he's just like oh, so into him. And I could just get to step back. I'm like, yeah, my man's hot. Like
Right.
you can touch him. I know at the end of the day he's coming home with me. Like, but you can
Yeah.
sit here and appreciate him.
Right.
Like, yeah, like I know like gas him up. Like it makes him feel good. I'm like, I get off on it, but
Totally.
it's not like I'm like, that's where I'm like, there's no jealousy. That's where the compersion comes in.
Sure.
I'm appreciating that someone is appreciating my partner.
Yeah.
And but he's still mine.
Yeah.
I think a big thing too is how I explained to some people doing OF, doing porn. It kind of really made it clear the difference between sex and intimacy. And
This is
we
my
were
next
we were
question.
completely, you know, just like I say before I did that stuff, I would go into bars and see hot guys and like drool over them. Where it's like I think sex, I'm numbed in that way now. It's more about I'm really turned on by people who have like really interesting conversations with me, not just by seeing a hot guy, but like if someone's like interacting with me and talking, I'm like that for some reason is so much hotter to me now than it was before I did
Yes.
porn.
And that was like your initial attraction to him too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So just the way that I feel like I evolved on how my outlook was, because I think I was a very jealous person before. And once I was able to distinguish my intimacy with him versus just sex with like a hookup, and able to feel how they made me feel differently,
Yeah.
that's kind of where the jealousy just really quickly faded for me.
So I'm curious about this, like kind of like because when I was writing this novel about like the sex worker, I was like really interested in the concept of like, if someone is having sex for work, like so to speak, like is there like a degradation of intimacy because it's like how do you separate like in like love sex from work sex, right? So like how do you do that? Like how like is it like I don't know. You know what I mean?
Some of it is and always will be like in this industry it's going to be performative. You
But
know,
do you
not
feel
together,
numb?
not together.
Is there like a numbness that you find that
I
to
feel like
sex?
there was a moment where I was feeling like I was numb until, you know, we definitely had to have many conversations, even like talk to therapists about it. And it's more about analyzing your feelings in those moments and being able to like really put them in boxes and it's understanding how you're feeling. Because at first it was like it felt like that I was getting numb to it, but I just wasn't understanding how I was feeling with him versus other people. And once I was able to clearly like separate those two things, that's where I was like, oh, it's like the sex with him was better than ever. You know, it's just
Yeah.
it's just like yeah.
It's so interesting because I like if I was like dating someone, I remember, you know, if I was dating someone and not like fully official with them and would hook up with somebody else, I'd be like, oh my God, I don't want to hook up with them because I just can't separate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying you guys are very evolved because, you know?
I think that's why we were monogamous for the first year, and that's why when people, I think I'm all for whether you want to be open or monogamous. The one thing I will say that I don't necessarily agree with is when friends they meet someone and they're 2 weeks in and they're like, oh, we're gonna be open. I'm like, but you haven't built anything yet. There's no foundation. There's nothing holding you to that person right now. So I'm not saying in my opinion, there needs to be a set timeline, 3 months, 6 months, a year. For us, it was a year. But I do feel like you need to build that foundation of trust and intimacy and loyalty. And so then when that starts to happen, like it did for us, this is just the cherry on top. Like we are having great intimate moments. We're not trying to replace anything. For me, it's when it should just be the extra. When it starts to feel like that's replacing something you're not getting, I think that doesn't mean that it's over. I think that's a different conversation.
Yeah.
If you're doing it to replace something you're not getting, but I think it's delusional to think that one person can give you everything you need for the rest of your life. But again, it is a constant conversation because there's been moments where, like you said, where we've been a little more open, and then there's been times where we're like, okay, we've been a little too open lately. I need it to just be about us. And we spend a couple months where it's just about us.
Yeah, I don't think I could, during that honeymoon phase where your pheromones was just out of control, I don't think I could have a relationship we have now during that time because all I wanted was him.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, constantly. And it was once that kind of honeymoon phase kind of faded off and, our love life normalized to like, we're together 7 years. That's when I was able to appreciate kind of, the compersion and just allow all that to kind of flood in because it was a different kind of joy and a different kind of like, honestly, honeymoon phase. There was just some excitement behind it.
So, what's like the argument, like in a devil's advocate, like what's the argument to a couple that maybe they are replacing the sex or the intimacy, if they're open with, not with each other, like right, with an outside party, that they break up versus stay together? Like, because to someone who's uneducated about it, like I'd be like, well, we're just not on the same page anymore. Why would I stay with this person if we obviously want different things, seemingly? Like, what would you guys like say to that? I know it depends. It's like so.
No, yeah. I'll just speak transparently about our experience. We have gone through moments of, feeling super connected. We've gone through moments of feeling disconnected. And I think that is not, I think that's normal for any relationship. You're going to go through moments of feeling so connected to being disconnected.
Closed,
Monogamous or open.
Yeah.
You go through moments of feeling connected to disconnected to reconnection. Like that's the point of being in a relationship. Connection, disconnect, reconnect, and feeling closer when you reconnect. So I think that if you are at that point of feeling like I'm not getting what I need in this relationship, I'm seeking it elsewhere, it's a time to have a conversation.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that you can't get back to each other, but
Right.
I know for me, when we got to that point, we decided to seek out couples therapy, and we're both a big proponent on therapy. And it wasn't because we were done or anything. It was just like, how can we just be more connected?
I love this.
And we did it for a whole year.
We're also two people who know that we need that from each other. We have a couple friends who just don't sleep together, and they're both okay with that and have a great relationship and just, do have like pretty much only have sex with other people, but, they still love their life together. And, there's honor in that too. I would never judge them for that, but that works for them. That works for the personalities they have. But we know we're not two people that, would be able to thrive in a relationship that way.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we're like running out of time, and I have so many more things to ask you. So you eventually kind of pivoted, or not even pivoted, but you just started to do more, like you said, in studio things. Like, so working for like Sean Koaty, right? You both started doing. So why did you want to do that?
That was marketing.
Just marketing.
Yeah. Well, at first it was just him.
Yeah. But it was for marketing. It was, so our timeline of it is we started the OF together. We were doing TikTok. Everything exploded, right? And then I think everyone could admit, around 2022, TikTok hit its peak, and then it was kind of downhill.
Yeah.
So while other people started OF and were immediately like collabing to grow their page, our business model was we make videos together, we do TikToks and Instagram, and that just flooded people to our page. And once that kind of plateaued, that's when we were like, oh, let's start collabing.
Got it.
We were already at a point where we would, do things together, but it was never to film. It was just for fun.
Yeah.
And so then we started doing collabs for the networking aspect. And then in 2023, I just decided that why don't I just try some studio work for marketing? Because I've heard it just like, get your name out there more. I was like, let's just get our name out there more. And so that was why we did that. And so it was just purely a supplement in marketing.
A lot of it too was I still had my engineering career, but everything he was doing was kind of tied to me. So it was also for relationship purposes. It was really nice for him to have something that was only his too.
Yeah.
That it kind of took a little pressure off of our relationship because, for his aspect, there was like everything for successful wise was linked to me. So, at times I was like, oh, I have my other job too. It does put a little pressure on us. So it was really nice for him to have kind of an outlet to focus on like his own stuff.
Can you give me like a quick, like funny or like BTS, like porn star, like funny story? Or
I
like,
mean, my
is
first-
it how
my-
unsexy is it?
It's not sexy.
Oh, it's not. That's the thing that's great about OF is that we always say the people we collab with were people we would hook up with without cameras.
Right.
So it is still like a fun sexual experience where studio scenes are not.
Well, I don't want to deter people from thinking like the fantasy of it. It's still fun. I've enjoyed everyone I've worked with. I enjoy the people behind the scenes. I've worked with a lot of studios at this point. They've all been great. But my first scene was with Sean Koaty, and he was a straight guy, and he was newly coming back, and he had never bottomed before, and so the scene was him bottoming for the first time, and he was straight. And so I mean that was probably one of the most interesting experiences because I'm so new. I don't know what to expect. I'm so nervous. You know, the whole experience of it all. And this guy is straight. I'm like, this guy could be an asshole. This guy could just be so uncomfortable to work with. I don't know. I don't know how
Was this
people
the one
are.
that didn't want to kiss?
Yeah. Oh, and yes.
Which
and
is
that.
crazy.
So he actually ended up being so chill to work with. Like we were goofing off, but yes, he didn't want to kiss. And for me, I'm like, kissing gets me going. Like
Sure.
I it's not just about just going at it. Kissing is the intimacy, the build up, the foreplay. So, but he didn't want to kiss. And so we had to do the whole scene, no kissing. And it was first time bottoming. It was just like an awkward experience, but I made it through. And then the pictures got posted because they always post pictures when you do your first scene, and those went up, and one of the first comments was someone said that I look like Chucky. And I don't know if they meant Chucky from Rugrats or Chucky the
dog.
There's
doll.
multiple. Yeah.
Either way, it didn't sound like a compliment. So you know, that was my first experience, but
That's funny.
it's not that it was negative, you know, it just
It's
awkward.
just different. So before we have like a minute left, but I just want to say, first of all, I miss my intro is wrong. You guys are not married yet. You're getting married.
We are married, but we are having our wedding this year.
Planning our wedding.
Okay,
We got married at the courthouse.
Okay.
So
But
October
we're-
3rd.
Is our wedding too.
our
Oh
wedding.
my God. How?
Yeah.
The day
Yeah, we
I
got
asked him
married
to be my-
October 3rd at the courthouse in 2024, and our wedding's October
And this is the
3rd.
day I asked him to be my
You guys are
boyfriend.
so
So we're
romantic.
just
I
keeping
can't take it.
It's mostly my type A OCD. It was like one date that's
To
it.
remember forever.
Yeah.
But House of Heat,
House of Heat.
I really liked that show.
Did you watch it all?
We're
Did you
Bravo
watch
gays,
it?
and we were like, you know, our expectations were low because it was their first reality show ever that Tubi did,
I'm on
and we watched it. and We're like, that was pretty good.
I'm
Wait,
on
what-
episode 3.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it gets so much
God,
better.
It gets so much
But
better.
I'm hooked because I
Okay.
started watching it today just to
Okay.
like have like an idea.
Oh my
and
God.
I'm gonna absolutely watch it.
Honestly,
will
I
say
think the first 3 are the more boring episodes.
3 and
All right.
4 are probably like the most uneventful, but the last half, if you're gonna watch it, the last half is where you see a lot
Episode
of
9
the
is where I
things we do.
shine.
Like you see, I'll just admit it to the viewer. Like we have a big fight
We
in
have a fight.
episode
I
6.
saw a trailer.
We make up in episode 7. We go get our dicks molded in episode 8. You know, there's a big house fight in episode 9.
Yeah.
You know, it gets pretty wild.
Well, it's on
It gets pretty
Tubi,
wild.
so watch it because I recommend it.
Yes.
I just think it's like breaking a lot of barriers, which I think
Yeah.
that you guys are doing, and I think it's
And for
just
season 1, we were like, wow, that was like
Yeah, and
pretty good.
it didn't get canceled or anything. They
okay.
just
It's on pause.
the I remember hearing the producer said that they thought that it had good ratings. They were happy with it, but nothing ever came of it. They didn't know if they wanted to like just do a new cast every season like the Real World. So nothing ever happened. So we don't know if something, you know, we could get a call tomorrow, be
Yeah.
like, hey, we want to invite you guys all back.
you're
We
Dorinda.
don't know.
You're on
We
pause.
only
It's-
talked to one person.
It's been 2 years now, but it was a fun adventure.
It was
Anyways,
crazy.
yeah, that was House of Heat.
I'm excited to finish watching it. But honestly, thank you guys so much for being so honest today and
Yeah.
just like opening up. No pun intended. But it's just I'm just so fascinated, and you guys are killing it, and it's just so fun to like.
No, thank you for having us.
Yeah.
We honestly we love having these conversations. We do them on our Instagram now. You
Yeah.
know, talking about like open relationships and things.
I'll
you know,
link
'cause,
all
like,
your channels.
Yeah, I
in
think
the
people
bio.
have a lot of opinions and
I think you're helping a lot of people by having conversations about it. I
yeah,
think
we
it's
just
really
want to
cool.
we want to open up the conversation.
That should be our new podcast name, Opening Up.
Opening up.